It was a dark and stormy night. Which is part of why I didn't film this right away after I got done watching the film this morning. Because Minxie was... She's terrified of thunderstorms. I probably mentioned that before. And she was just over here, like, sound asleep. And I'm like, well, I don't want to bother her. And of course I fell asleep myself. So here we are at 7:15 in the morning, Saturday, July 10th. Last time I know I wasted a lot of time talking about the books, so I'm going to try to talk mostly about the movie this time, but there will be a little boner content at the end. So, let's get to it. So this week, in our second of the trilogy of the Fear Street movies, we are in 1978, and we are at Camp Nightwing, right? I think that was right. Not Red Wing, Nightwing. There's been so many camp... like so many camp stories in the last few years that are entwined in my head. Like American Horror Story did one. Freeform, is that they did it? There was some, I think it was Freeform. They did the Dead of Summer, which actually was a pretty good series too. So there's a lot of camp. Even though I just watched this one last night, but there was some stuff that the last one was just last week. And I didn't remember, like, well, hopefully you've seen the first movie, at least by now, but just, I guess, spoiler warnings in case. The girl's like, oh, well, we found her bones, you know, and I was like, she mentions that they found the witch's bones, and I'm like, oh, I forgot they did that. The movie was just a week ago. But anyway, it's the first showing that, like, these movies are really intertwined. In fact, we get, like, kind of a little continuation of our story and also a little bit of development of the story and the world and the universe that they're trying to build here. Because it's kind of, like, there's kind of its own little movie in the middle with the Nightwing stuff, or whatever, with the camp stuff. And because in the first movie... Hopefully you've seen it by now if you're watching something about the second movie. I don't know. Spoiler warning, you know, we saw the character, as I said, put the note through the door about it's happening again, you know. And we get to see the character that note went to. You know, and that person is telling the story of the camp and the whatnot. And actually we get a little bit of development, a little backstory on our sheriff character as well. And we actually get to see the origin story of one of our ghostly ghosts as well, which was kind of interesting. I don't know if I just wasn't, once again, I didn't remember. I wasn't paying enough attention to the first movie. You know, and well, I mean, there's intertwining because the crazy singing bitch that I liked the last time, her mom is actually, and well, I guess spoilers, I should probably say that, but you know, we end up meeting her mother in this one. There again, I don't know if I just wasn't paying enough attention to the last names, or or the outfits maybe somebody was wearing, perhaps, potentially. To realize that, oh, this was, you know, I knew bad stuff was going. I knew stuff was going bad for this character, but because the witch is involved, you know. But we do have a much bigger cast this time, and therefore a lot more. There's a lot more death to go around, I suppose, because that was one of my things about the first movie, was that, you know, I felt like it was pretty, I mean, the kills that they did have, I suppose, were somewhat gory, at least, but in this one, they upped the body count. I guess that's kind of what a sequel should do, I suppose, maybe, I don't know, and, I mean, it's a camp, and they're watching over children, and I'm just saying, This movie goes places where some movies don't dare to tread. But anyway, so I mean, I guess if you need like a I mean, a spoiler warning, also a trigger warning, whatever. There are a few children that die in this movie. They are not safe, so don't even, it was kind of a shock to me when I saw it, because I was kind of like, oh, they're actually gonna, because usually it's like, oh my god, the kids have got to be protected. They're, no, not here. Not at all. But yeah, so we have the camp stuff in the middle that kind of, it furthers the story of, the universe, and there's quite a bit about the witch in here. And then like it's bookended by kind of a continuation of our story from the first film, So we get a little bit of, quite a bit of world building, actually. I mean, they only have one movie left next Friday, and I think a spoiler warning again, I suppose. They found an interesting way, I think, to keep our characters around, because I wasn't sure if they were going to close the book on this, so to speak, pun unintended, but there it is, laying right there in front of your face. I didn't know if they were going to close out the story of what was going on yet, or if they were going to, like have it carry over, and then, like the last movie just be the explanation of Sarah Fear and all the blah 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 what's going on with her, finally fill in all the blanks for you, or if somehow they were going to, keep the story, our main story going, I guess. But they found an interesting way to keep our cast involved in the next story, even though the next story takes place in 1666. Which is, where Sarah Fear was, where Shady Side, I suppose, was birthed, for the curse and all that came from. So, but yeah, the shady side the camp stuff in the middle, if you take all that out and set it by itself, it's like its own little like movie. Like you don't even have to necessarily, like there's enough explanation and stuff going on there that like, for us who's seen the first movie, and definitely the bookends of the film where we're with our the brother and sister character, like definitely you should have watched the first movie if you're watching what's going on with them. But if for some reason you happen to come across the second movie first, you'll be like, what the fuck is going on? But in the middle, you'll be like, it's kind of its own film. It's like you don't even have to know what the hell is going on. But there's a lot of little treats in there, for, once again, people who've seen the first film, and you're like, oh, okay, there's that, and, some other kind of some nods. I seem to remember, in the first film, they mentioned the camp, the massacre at the camp or whatever, and now we get to actually see it, so it has a lot of good carryover. Once again, I feel like it did take a little bit of time to get started, but the runtime of the film is almost 2 hours, I believe. So it's there's plenty once the story actually does get started. And I thought they did well with because it was the two sister characters, and once again I didn't pay attention to names, so I think well. Spoiler alert, I suppose. Did they do the same thing in that Oz movie that came out the last few years? But anyway, Oz the Great and Powerful, the one with James Franco, something with the two sisters, whatever. But the one sister is the bad girl, the one everybody they call her a witch and whatever and blah blah blah, and the other sister is the perfect sister, and she didn't used to be the perfect sister, but she's trying to act like she's not from Shady Side, but she's trying to act perfect, and she's trying to get her life together, and she stopped hanging out with this other character, so she's kind of our almost that character could have been taken in a very Mary Sue direction, where it's like she's perfect, she never does anything wrong, she's or Perils of Pauline or whatever, like this pristine character. It could have been overdone, but they actually they gave her enough meat to the back of her story that it wasn't just kind of, because to begin with, she's kind of, maybe she has on that facade, and maybe as the story progresses, as the film progresses, she becomes, we start to peel back layers of who she is, so she's not just this, Mary Sue, like, oh my god, everything's so bad kind of character, because it's like she doesn't, at the beginning, like, her and her boyfriend are kissing and he grabs her butt and she's like, we talked about this, she's very virginal, very pure, maybe is the way to put it, and then we find out as the film progresses that that's not necessarily the truth, and it's not the writing and the actress do a very good good way of, like, not turning that character into like a caricature, I guess, where I guess the trope, the Mary Jane trope, whatever, where she's just this virginal good character who's like, oh my god, it's kind of like she gets mad at one point and she, like, actually cusses. They're like, oh my god, you cussed, kind of thing. But they did a good job of, we start out that way, but that character is not the same very quickly. It becomes very, very clear that, she's not perfect, and, it drags her through the mud a little bit, so it's like, it's not, it's not like it stays that way, which I appreciated in that way. So I thought the film was, once again, pretty good, especially, like, once it got started, and because there's some, like I said, there's some world building, there's some character development once again toward the beginning, where everything's gonna kind of get started. You know what I mean? And once it gets started, it was a good thrill ride for the rest of the way, especially since, like I said, we got to where we continued our story. I guess a spoiler alert in this, once again, because that's part of the story, is that Sarah Fear cut off her hand, and they find out that this one character was trying to find the hand, and put the curse to rest, basically, and the camp is in 1978. And we are now in 1984. I feel like that's not... there's, once again, some stuff you have to overlook. Because the hand, which was buried at the camp, I guess if you're paying enough attention... Once again, I wasn't paying enough attention visually. Like, everything, even stuff in the background, matters in these films. Because the place where it was buried, we saw in the first movie. So you have to pay attention. You have to pay attention to names, you have to pay attention to the way characters are dressed, you have to pay attention to things in the background. So if you're paying attention, which I apparently was not the first film, you will know where the hand is buried. But there again, I feel like, spoiler alert, I suppose, I'm going to try to say it without saying too much, these characters are supposed to be teenagers, and it's 78 to 84, it was 84, right? Because I don't feel like that's enough time that these characters... 1994, sorry. 1994. That's right. I knew that, and I was saying it stupid. I was thinking 94, but I was saying 84. So never mind. Forget my point. Don't even listen to me. I'm fucking stupid. Let's move on. Guess I was gonna say, I don't feel like that's enough time, but that's enough time for the camp to possibly completely disappear and be a completely different location. Here we go. I can say that without being too spoilery, I suppose. But like I said, all in all, it was a good film. We got, continuation. And it's like, I'm somebody, I don't really like flashbacks kind of thing, but this filled in so much of the story and was so interesting on its own, just as its own kind of, like, film in the middle of a film kind of thing, kind of deal. Like I said, especially once it got started, that, it was a good ride. It was a good time, and I'm looking forward to 1666 to see what that story brings. But yeah, Minxie was starting to get up here for some reason. Looking for attention. I'm sorry, I'm talking to the people and not you. But sorry, I let you sleep through a thunderstorm this morning, so you're welcome. Because usually she wakes up and she goes, she crouches on the floor. She goes, meow. And it's like, I try to, I try to help her sometimes, but it's like, I can't stay on the floor with you for hours while this storm goes on, It's like, you made it through the last one, you'll make it through this one, it'll be fine. It's even worse when I'm at work and she doesn't have anybody here to, pet her. Because sometimes she just comes and even if she's just laying near my foot to where it's touching her, it makes it feel just comfortable enough to where she makes it through, But when nobody's here, I guess she just goes and hides under the bed or something. I don't know. But anyway, so yes, I think the film, once again, I hope you saw the first movie before you saw this one, because it'll be more interesting for you probably in some ways. But especially, like I said, the beginning and the end parts, because then you'll know kind of what happened in the first film. But if you happen to come across this one first somehow, like the stuff in the camp will definitely hold your interest, and the stuff in the beginning and the end might make you interested enough to watch the first film. I don't know, even though you will already have known what happened, but some people, that doesn't bother them. I don't know. I'm still salty with my friend Tiffany, who ruined the Look at the Flowers episode of Walking Dead for me, because she just shouted out in the break room, because she was looking up episode that she hadn't even watched yet, and she's, oh my god, blah 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 happened, and I'm like, really? I was gonna watch that when I got home in the morning, So I might have stopped sitting with her for a while. I can't remember. Like, I can't sit with you on Sunday nights if you're gonna do this. But yeah. So I mean, spoilers don't bother some people. So I know they do me. So I'd rather see the story and its progression as the artists intended it, without knowing what's going to happen, because I feel like that kind of dissolves the emotional punch that some things are supposed to have, but I mean, I guess it gives you a different emotional punch if you know it's coming and you don't want it to happen. But anyway, so yeah, the film's good. I'm blah blah blahing on at the end. So anyway, that is my film review, or me discussing the film, I guess. I don't know how much of a review it was. Film's good. I enjoyed it. I think I actually maybe enjoyed it more than the first one. Maybe. Even though, like I said, I'm not a big fan of the flashbacks, but this gave us so much more detail into this, like the story and the universe and the whatever and the blah blah blah. And like I said, it was kind of cool to see some things that, kind of some connections from the first film. It's like, oh well, now we're getting to see that kind of thing, So I don't know how many connections there'll be left for 1666, but I guess we'll find out next week. Anyway, so the review is over. Thank you, if that's all you want to stay for. Now, if you want my boner, here we go. I thought, since I showed you my little collection that I had last week, I don't know if this is the first book that I read, but this is the first book that I ever owned, the first Fear Street book that I ever owned, because I was interested in them. I don't know if like I said, I don't know if I ever got a chance to read one yet, but we were going up to, my grandpa liked to go up to the mall, because Babbage's, back then, it was Babbage's, maybe even Circuit City. I don't know. But he would go up there and he would get his his new games like Seventh Guest, Phantasmagoria, which I have always said is one of my favorite games ever. And I mean, he got things like Myst. I mean, it wasn't like he only did the horror games, you know. But I threw out a couple horror titles just because, you know, we're talking about a horror movie. I never played Puzzle of Flesh, though. I have them over there in my little pile, but that's the second Phantasmagoria, but it has nothing to do with the first one. And I don't even think the person who did the... I think I was looking up information about it the other day, and the original person who did the first game wasn't even involved in the second one. But anyway, so Grandpa would like to take these little trips to the mall, and my sister and I would go with him sometimes. And my sister... my sister, I don't know why, she decided to be nice to me for a change when we were teenagers, but she's like, will you pick out one and I'll buy it for you? So my sister actually bought me this book, so it's the first one I ever owned. And it is a super chiller, Fear Street super chiller, and it is The New Year's Party. It's probably not much of a party if people are dying. When midnight strikes, they all die. I think it was a super chiller because I kind of forgot maybe that was a thing that like the book was bigger or longer or something. And usually I don't have anything that's bigger or longer, so this was a really good purchase for me. Really good thing to have. Ring in the new fear. PJ wasn't supposed to die. It was just a practical joke. No big deal. But PJ had a bad heart. The kids at Renee's Christmas party couldn't tell the police what they'd done, so they hid the body, and then it disappeared. Oh no. Now someone is killing them one by one. Someone is taking PJ's revenge. But who? By midnight, they'll know, because when the clock chimes, they'll all get a kiss. The kiss of death. Of course. I thought you was family. That was that was my mafia voice. Was it good? No. I could have been somebody. I could have been a contender. I don't know. I should stop. Let's see. So this book has been with me since, because all of these that I've bought, First Archway paperback printing, December 1995. So this one has been with me since 1995. That's a lot of years and some math, and I'm going to get it wrong if I try to figure it out. So yeah, because this has been with me since it was bought at the Walden Books at Independence Center. So this has been with me for a while, and I was telling somebody, I think last time, that you know, a lot of these books that I bought, like they've been with me since I bought them, so they've been in my collection for quite a few years. Yes, Super Chillers by R.L. Stine, Twice a Year, Twice the Terror. The collection at the time was Party Summer, Silent Night. I think there was a second Silent Night, maybe. Goodnight Kiss, Broken Hearts, Silent Night 2, there it is. The Dead Lifeguard, Cheerleaders, The New Evil, Bad Moonlight, The New Year's Party, which is this one here. And you're supposed to look for New Fear Street Super Chiller in June 1996. Which I don't know what that one would have been, but there's a little. Would you like to read? Would you like to hear the excerpt from the beginning? On thin ice, the ice beneath her quivered. A crack rang out, shattering the stillness of the winter night. Renee held perfectly still. If I move very slowly and carefully, I can edge my way over to the shore. She slid her left foot forward, struggling to keep her balance. She exhaled. So far, so good. Keep moving. Then she heard another crack, louder this time. The ice beneath her gave way with a groan. She slid into the freezing black water. She felt herself being pulled down, swallowed up by the lake. I can't breathe, she realized. She pounded on the ice with her fists, clawed at it. Where's the hole, she asked herself. Where's the hole I fell through? She couldn't find it. I'm trapped under the ice. Her last thought before the blackness engulfed her. So, it's a little... And here's a list of, I guess, all the books that were available at the time. Yeah, the Fear Street Cheerleaders there was the trilogy first, and then I guess the super chiller later on. But I don't know if you can see yet how the words are kind of raised up like that instead of flat up against just printed on the book. This is unfortunately not one of the shiny ones. I don't know if there was a shiny version of this, but that's what I was talking about. So yes, this is my first, at least my first, so thank you to my sister for buying this book for me, because it was the first Fear Street book I ever owned. So, in case you were wondering. And I also have a new phone. In case you were wondering, which you weren't, because I never mentioned it. But anyway, at least there won't be images burned into the screen. I don't know how long it'll take before images are burned into this screen, but we shall see. Anyway, that's what this week is all about. And we have one more film to go, and so far I've been, like I said, I don't know any like nods to story or any of that stuff. There might be more nods to the 1666, because I'm sure, I think there was maybe a trilogy of books that dealt with Sarah Fear back then. I probably read them. Like I don't remember this book. I don't remember who the killer is. I don't remember anything. I could read it again and be all new, brand new. Which is I think a lot of the Fear Street books, even though I read them, I don't remember them. Yeah, it's been a while. So I don't know if I read the trilogy that had to deal with Sarah Fear. I mean, maybe I should read it again if I got it back there. Who knows? It's kind of like Pokemon. And I've always been that way, like trying to collect them all. Like I said, I know there's a few that I don't have. I need to go through the collection again. And somewhere, I used to have a list. I don't know where that list ended up. But anyway, that's this week. We got one more movie to go next week. I was intending to do a video yesterday. Ended up not getting around to it because going to get my new phone ended up being some drama. I had to go back to the store because something on the computer went wrong. It didn't charge my card or something for the taxes, and I don't know. There was I got all home. I was all like not sweaty anymore, and then I got a call, and it's like, hey, you have to come back. The thing didn't go through, and you have to pay the taxes. I was like, oh fuck. So I ended up not doing that yesterday. But because I know the eggs that I ate the other day in the trash, I did not need another one of those. I figured it could go to the stray cats and the raccoons that dig through the dumpster at night. I figured that might be a very nice meal for them, but not a nice snack for me. Anyway, this is rambling, and I mean, I need to make some videos because I don't know what the next step is in punishing myself. I don't know. We're going to have to up the ante or something at some point, so I learned my lesson, and I'm still not going to learn my lesson because I'm me. But anyway, that's a lot of, there's the rambling that at least last time I rambled about the books a lot, and Fear Street in general. So at least it was kind of on topic. I wasn't talking about the movie, I was talking about the, being a fan, and the books, and the blah, 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 blah. But anyway, more rambling. I might do a video this week. Who knows? I don't. But I'll definitely do one next Friday, because as far as I know, I should be here to be able to watch it. I mean, I won't, be able to make a video on it until Saturday morning, probably. I like to watch it in the dead of night. The witch's hour, or whatever, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Sounds about right. But anyway, so I should at least have a video next Friday, or Saturday morning, whatever, for the final film in the series. And maybe I'll make something else. Who knows? But I'll see you for what I see.